Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I am going to be doing a wrap-up of the books that I read for the Queer Lit Readathon. So this was round 6, and what I did for this round of the readathon is I took the prompts, but then I basically used horror books and kind of thriller books because those are my favorite to read. I like the dark literature, and kind of fit them into the prompts for the Queer Lit Readathon, and obviously they've all got queer characters and are diverse. So let me go through the books that I ended up reading for the readathon. So the first one is this gorgeous book over here. This is A Line in the Dark by Melinda Lowe. You can see that cover. I love this cover. I'm in love with it. I mean, I've read other Melinda Lowe books and I've really loved them, but I saw this cover and I was like, yeah, I need this in my life. So this book is about two friends. Well, really kind of it's about 3 girls. So you've got 2 friends who have, they've just been friends all their life, ever since they were young. And one of them is openly queer, so she is a lesbian. And she kind of falls for another girl, and this girl is from a very fancy kind of prep school. You may notice my look today. I'm kind of, in my natural day-to-day life, I'm very kind of, I guess, dark academia kind of goth anyway, but I thought I would match today's book because these books do have that kind of slight dark academia theme to them, and it's something that I'm really into at the moment. I'm reading a lot of books that sort of fall into that vein, and I'll do a video on that as well because it's just one of my personal passions. But anyway, that's an aside. So she falls with this girl that goes to a fancy private school, and her friend is not happy about this. So you get the impression that her friend is in love with her. And then they go to a party, and it's a party hosted by the prep school kids. And the next day, one of the girls, so the best friend of the girl that she's dating, stay with me, ends up dead. And, the questions are asked, who done it, who killed her? I love that kind of setup. I like that slight, like I said, that some slight dark academia kind of vibe, in the sense that, you have this kind of prep school and these kind of nasty mean girls, that kind of vibe as well. You obviously have this relationship and the exploration of the feelings. You have a comic being drawn as well, which is really cool. I like that kind of incorporation of the storyline of the comic going through it. This sort of kind of tangled web of emotion between these girls. Obviously, this is very much a YA book. I really enjoyed it. I think the end left me a little unsatisfied, I'll be honest. Not unsatisfied, that's the wrong word for it. I don't know what it was. Maybe because I read a lot of kind of horrors and thrillers and those kind of books, that the end wasn't the strongest for me, but I actually really had a good time reading this book. I really enjoyed it. It didn't disappoint. I flew through it, liked it, really enjoyed it. Definitely keeping it. Cover's still gorgeous. Yeah, liked it. Then from the good to the, I don't know. So the next book I'm talking about, and this is secondhand and it came without a dust jacket, so I'll hold it up this way. This is Christopher Rice's A Destiny of Souls. And so Christopher Rice is Anne Rice's son. This is his very first novel, and it intrigued me because, again, it kind of gave me a little bit of that dark academia vibe, and it gave me that, what I really love is that kind of messed up friendship group, something goes wrong. I'm holding this up, you can't even see the cover. Let's do that. A friendship group, something goes wrong. It's, there's kind of sort of messed up relationships, and it's dark. Now, I love dark literature. So what this book is, it centers on the main character, and there's kind of 3 main characters. So they're all friends until they kind of get to they get to sort of, now American school systems are different to where I grew up. So kind of like high school, I think, sort of the more upper school, upper class. And then that typical thing happens where, actually, no, there's 4 friends. I was right in the first time. 2 of them are kind of like jocks, and they basically become assholes, and they're like all popular. And then there's a 3rd girl who then ends up dating one of them, and she's in with the popular crowd as well. And then you have one of the kids that's left, and he becomes an outcast, and they relentlessly bully him. because he's gay. And they are really, really horrible, really mean. This book, I would say, is relentlessly dark. So, and when I say dark, not in a horror kind of way, but more in a psychological, just there's bullying, trigger warnings, bullying, suicide, sexual assault, abuse, just, so many really kind of dark topics. And I found myself having to put it down. Now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't read the last, maybe 50 pages yet, just because I started this, and like I said, as much as I love kind of my dark, messed up fiction, and maybe it was just my frame of mind, it was so relentlessly depressing, just this tragic and these tragedies that happen, and these people are not happy. They are not in the least bit happy at all. That I kind of had to put it down. From obviously a queer aspect, you have this, like I said, he is this main character. He's really bullied, and some of the things are really horrendous. And yeah, it's there's a lot of kind of gay bashing in this book as well. There's explosions happening at gay bars. So this is not a happy book by any stretch of the imagination. Also, if you're wondering, this is not supernatural or vampires or anything like that at all. It's very much the real world. But yeah, I still don't know how I feel. In one sense, I like it, but I do, in one sense, I think it's good. The writing can be a little bit confusing sometimes. I had to kind of reread stuff to figure out what I was actually reading. But yeah, it is, like I said, relentlessly heavy. There's not much light in this book at all. So yeah, so that's what I'll say about that one. Then, from the darkness to the light, ironically, this gorgeous book, Elatsoe, by Darcy Little Badger. I think I went on and on about how much I love the cover and just the whole book, and like I say, the deckled edges and the way the book is, and then there's drawings, if I can find them, on the title pages, and the whole thing is just a beautiful kind of physical hard copy of a book. But it's also a beautiful book to read. So you've got your main character, Elatsoe, and this is written by an Indigenous author. It has Indigenous characters in it, very diverse, it's wonderful. Elatsoe is also ace. So from that sense, it's beautiful, and it represents, and it shows a different mythology as well, because in this world, kind of the supernatural, vampires, shapeshifters, your witches, magic, that is what it is in the world. And Elatsoe has this power where she can bring back to life deceased animals. The spirits will spring out the spirits of the animals, and she's, I suppose, kind of like necromancer. But a lot of it is embedded in Indigenous kind of mythology and culture, which is really beautiful to see a different side of that. And she has a wonderful pet ghost dog, which I love. And basically, I don't want to give too much away of the storyline, but something happens, someone goes missing, and Elatsoe and her dog and her friends, they kind of go on this, I guess, adventure to find what happened. There's vampires involved, there's some evil men involved, there's a cool party at the end involved. But I just think it's it's not a horrific horror, it's beautiful, gentle kind of thriller horror, reminding me a little bit of Scooby-Doo in the best possible way, or kind of a little bit Nancy Drew-ish, kind of uncovering this mystery, this teen girl and her friends and the ghost dog. So yeah, I loved this book. It is stunning, it's beautiful. I absolutely encourage anyone to read it, and like I said, it brings a bit of diversity to kind of the horror genre as well, which is something that I always look for, but you don't always find. So this is just like, how beautiful is this book? So from that, a new author, one that I'd never read before, to an author that I've read before and I love, and this was no exception. So David Sodergren's Nightshoot. David Sodergren is just, I love his horror. He writes this kind of really dark humor slasher horror. So when I say the Christopher Rice book is relentlessly dark in the sense that there's no kind of humor in it or any sort of lightness, what I love about David Sodergren's books is they can be gory, they can be slashery, there's people dying, it's horrific, but there are so many bits of humor and dark and wry humor in these books that I really love. There's always music references. So this one is about a group of students. They are in film school, like art school, at university. They've got to film their final project, and one of them does. So the main character, I think her name is Jules. Is it Jules? Oh God, it might not be Jules. I can't remember what her name is. That's really bad. I'm gonna have to have a look now. Oh God. Elspeth, no, Jules is the other book I read. So Elspeth she is actually the costume and like props designer, but then you've got one guy who's the director, who's a right arsehole. You've got some actors, and anyway, they're shooting this kind of student film, and what they've decided to do is shoot your kind of horror film, and they go to the director's uncle's or family's house, and it's this gorgeous like mansion house in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, oh, this is brilliant, it's a great set, we don't have to pay for it. But the one stipulation is they cannot stay overnight. Under no circumstances can they stay in the house after dark. So, of course. As you can imagine, what happens is that they have troubles with the shoot. Elspeth is actually blamed for what happens. The director is a right arsehole, and he just wants naked shoots of the lead actress, so eventually she walks off the set. And they haven't finished their film, they have to finish it. So they decide to sneak back in after dark. And shit happens. It's brilliant. I adored this book. I adore David Sodergren. I mean, you know, there's nothing that he can write that I wouldn't love. I'll probably do a whole David Sodergren video at some point, but yeah, I adored this. And Elspeth is gay. She has a girlfriend. And that's very much part of her character. But again, this is like not coming out, nothing like that. It's just that the character happens to be queer. And then the last book I read is this beautiful book. It's Neil Gaiman's Sleephands, The Spindle. Chris Riddle illustrates this. So, I mean, some of the illustrations are I mean, not some of them, all of them are gorgeous. But this is basically a queer retelling of Sleeping Beauty, and it's just gorgeous. Look at that female knight there. It's beautiful. I mean, everything about this book is my aesthetic. The drawings, the kind of the darkness, the fairy tale retelling, the whole 9 yards. This is just a beautiful graphic novel in every sense, and it's a queer graphic novel, which again, not that common, especially like queer horror kind of graphic novels. And this is just it's beautiful, gorgeous. So anyway, that was my wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know what you read and what you enjoy, and let me know any kind of diverse horror recommendations as well, because I'm always up for that. Thank you all again for watching. Keep well and safe. See you all next time. Bye.